One. All right, everybody. We are back. The Throne Bros are back,
Back,
and
baby.
we got we got a new show to talk about here in the Game of Thrones universe. As you know, I'm here. My name's Nando. If you're new, if you're returning, you know my name, and you also know who we got here. 3 Hour Raven, and he's gonna lead us through this little journey here. Um, all right, so let's just get to it. We've got 2 episodes in. We're
Hold
gonna
on,
come
hold
out.
on, hold on. Just give a shout out to all the beautiful people, all the beautiful Westerosians, all the Game of Throners, House of Dragoners. Yeah, just gonna give a shout out to you guys. Thank you for the support, and we're back. You know, while we're waiting for House of Dragon, we got this little, you know, this a little in between, a little appetizer. You know.
Yeah, you know, and we got some time because where we're at.
Winter is coming.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. But yeah, like before I got ahead, and the 3 Hour Raven thanked all the fans. We're glad to have you back, and we're glad to have new ones. But we'll get right to it. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Okay, this
Yes,
is
sir.
set in between House of the Dragon and the main story,
Yep.
and we're gonna meet some people that you might have heard from in Game of Thrones a little bit. You might have heard names and things like that. So, um, you know, as you know, the 3 Hour Raven knows all about this. He's deep in these in this universe, and he knows here to give us more insight. So, 2 episodes in, the first one is named Hedge Knight.
So before we start breaking down an episode, right? So this series is based off 3 books, right? And these aren't like the other books that have come out. Um, compared to A Song of Fire and Ice, like these are like an way easier read. We got the bang. This is the first one right here, the Hedge Knight. Then we got the Sworn Sword, Hedge Knight Part Two, and then we have the Mystery Knight, right here, bang.
All
Now,
right.
what makes these different from the other like books, like as you can see, like this is like comic style, like it's not just words and it has it's a comic style type of story. So, you know, it's a lot different than the Song of Fire and Ice, but it's a good story. So we're here to give you guys the breakdown.
And I think if you're following along, if you watch the first 2 episodes, you can kind of tell that not the comedy stuff, but it's not as how would I say it's not as I don't want to say serious because but it's not as there's no war going on technically at this time in a way. You know what I mean? Like the realm's somewhat calm.
Not yet.
Now,
Not yet.
well, there you go. The 3 Hour Raven let you know. But yeah, we start out first episode, the Hedge Knight. Obviously, this is a basic title for the probably the first book, which is probably going to be the first season.
Yep.
Um, so we start out, we see this guy, um, and he's holding this dead guy. You tell us a little bit about who we meet there, our main character.
Yeah, so our main character is Sir Duncan the Tall. Now, he he's what you call a hedge knight, right? So a hedge knight is kind of like a freelance knight that just kind of jumps from house to house, just kind of helps work. If there's some type of battle, they're there to fight. But yeah, they don't really have like a place to call home, so that's why they bounce around. So we see Sir Duncan, and he has his well, I guess his what's the word I'm looking for?
Sire.
His what?
His sire, I think is what they said on that. Like he said in one of the
Yeah,
like
yeah,
conversations. He was a squire. He
yeah,
was
yeah. So
this man he's burying squire.
that is Sir Arlen Pennytree.
Island, yeah, Arlen of Pennytree, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
He was a
uh,
hedge knight as well.
Yeah. So Dunk basically grew up with Sir Arlen, and yeah, that's how he became a knight. But no one really, no one really believes him.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that. That's where I'm saying like it's not as serious yet or
Yeah.
anything going on. Where like, so he's burying his former knight who he squired for. Um, he buries him. He says a couple words, which is funny, where he's like, "You never slapped me when I didn't deserve it," and then they show a couple clips.
The clip, yeah.
Um, then the next morning, he's sitting there like kind of contemplating what to do next, talking to the horses. You know what I mean? Saying, I could sell you guys and then like be able to live off of food for like 2 years maybe, but what after? You know what I mean? He's kind of contemplating what comes next here for him. Obviously, then there's a funny moment where he has he has stomach bubbles and then he takes a shit.
Yeah,
Obviously,
they're kind of wild in the
yeah,
scene.
right.
With some
so,
scenes.
so that was funny. Today he after talking it out, he realizes there's like a tournament going on nearby, somewhat in this place called is it Ashford?
Ashford,
Yeah. Now
yeah.
where's Ashford located? You know where it's located? Is the Reach? Is it the like
So I'm
where
pretty
we
sure
at?
it's somewhere near the Stormlands.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I mean,
I didn't double check, but
I know one of the guys he runs into on the show is like, this isn't the Reach. Like, I don't know what you're like, scared of or whatever. But
yeah,
he stops by at this inn on the way. When he gets there, there's like this little boy. He thinks he's like works at the inn or maybe related to whoever owns the inn. And he tells him, take care of the horses, whatever. He goes inside. There's nobody at the inn. I mean, everybody's passed out. He almost walks out before the lady in charge comes in. She gets he she tells him what's on the menu, and he said, "I'll take both," because he's a tall guy and he eats a lot. And she said, she made some crack about him being tall enough or big enough to eat both or whatever. Anyway, there's a funny encounter with some passed out guy that wakes up. Can you give us a little insight on that? That might be somebody further down that we should know. Possibly, we don't know yet, but
yeah. So we get this drunk guy. He wakes up. He it's almost like he wakes up from a dream or like a nightmare maybe, and he looks at Dunk and he's like, "Oh, I saw you in a dream." Now they don't really introduce who this person is, but what we do know is that he puts down a Targaryen coin on the table when he's leaving. So you know he might be Targaryen. He might pop up later in the story. So keep that in mind.
yeah. So he guess he eats. He comes out and he goes to check on the horses. He sees the little boy on the horse, kind of gives him some shit like, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? I believe he, I think he says his name here, in this part, but I mean, basically, this little boy is important. He's somebody that you've heard of before if you're a fan of the Big Show. You know what I mean? He's actually not doesn't live there. He tells Duncan that he's like, I'm not the stable boy. I'm not. That's not my mother. My mother's dead. Um, and I don't know if it's revealed here, but we can reveal it. His name is Egg. He just goes by Egg. He doesn't tell Duncan anything, but we know. Um, like I said, talking to you before this, I rewatched it before doing this, reviewing it a little bit, and I didn't hear the line that I thought I heard the first time. I might be, like I said, might have seen it in the teaser of the whole series, but this is Egg. Egg, somebody we heard from in the main series. Egg is he's Maester Aemon's little brother Egg, who, if you know, there's the when he's dying, he's talking like he's shouting his name. He's like Egg, Egg. So obviously, Egg is a Targaryen. Aemon is a Targaryen. He's not gonna. He hasn't revealed that to Duncan, even through 2 episodes. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is gonna be a big thing. Because isn't like technically like these books like the adventure of Duncan and Egg or something like that in a way, like
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty much like the three books are basically based on like they wander around Westeros together.
okay.
Um, but yeah, it's just like their adventures, the shit they
Yeah.
get into.
So basically, Duncan decides to leave. He's like, I gotta make it to Ashford. Egg asked to go along. He's like, no.
He
Like,
wants the squire.
yeah, he wants to squire. He was like, you don't want to squire for me. He leaves. He throws a coin at him. He's like, take the coin. You know what I mean? Whatever. He goes on the journey. He finally gets to Ashford. And once he gets to Ashford, he wants to see the master of the games to try to get in because he wants to be a knight. Is he lying to the master of the games or is he not? We don't know. I don't know if the books reveal it. Was he really knighted or
Well, they don't actually reveal that, but as you know, only a knight can knight a knight.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Which is
yeah,
kind of what the master of the games kind of says in the
yeah,
thing. He's like, and I believe he's the one that's joking around. He's like, this isn't the reach because he tries to joke around with Duncan. And as we kind of start to figure out Duncan is he's not from a wealthy family. He's kind of a little. He has his moments where he's a little slow. If you want to, for lack of a better term,
hmm,
slow to pick up on things or read the situation of what's going on. So basically, the master of the games tells him, "I'll let you in, but you got to get an endorsement from one of these, somebody who's of a house." You know what I mean? So he kind of says, "Hey, another name that we've heard before." He says he saw Dundarian over there. He's gonna go tell him because Mr. Pennytree like helped them out a lot. And as you know, Dundarian is the last name that we heard before in the main Game of Thrones series, which is my man who was with the forget the group now. Um the
yeah, yeah,
Brotherhood.
yeah. The Brotherhood. Yeah,
He was with
yeah,
the
yeah,
Brotherhood, Dundarian.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I forget his first name. 3 Eye Raven probably remembers before me, but um, you know what I'm talking about. He had the one eye, and he had the sword
Yeah.
of fire. You know
He
what I
came back
mean? He supposedly
from
came
like
back a
six
bunch of
times.
times. So
Yeah,
there you go. That's his family line. They were pretty at this point. They were pretty regarded house at that time. You would say smaller, but no,
yeah. That's probably his. That might be his like grandfather.
yeah. So,
So,
and this is said, before we get ahead, this is said in between, uh,
oh
Dan,
yeah, yeah. It's
between House of the
it's
Dragon and the main show, but it's what 98 years, something like that.
no, no. It's like almost 80 years
Okay.
after the Dance of the Dragons.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he keeps going around. He goes to Dundarian. Dundarian supposedly asleep because all the guy does is drink and mess around with the ladies, with the ladies of the night. And so they're he's talking to one of the ladies of the night. They're like, come back, see him later. He goes and does something. He kind of runs into like because he's watching these guys prepare for the jousting. He kind of runs into this knight. He's kind of an asshole. I thought he was a Lannister because of the way the what's it called was, but there was a sigil on the it was like an apple whatever on the thing on the
yeah.
shield. But I don't know if like that's a different house at the time or was that a Lannister, and I just missed it.
So that's they run into Stefan Fossaway.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like a big prominent name
Okay.
that we've heard before in the Game of Thrones world, but yeah, Stefan Fossaway and his cousin.
Okay, yeah, and he's wearing an attire that we've seen before, kind of similar to the Lannisters. So that's why I was kind of thought he might have been a
Yeah,
Lannister. So they have a little talk. He kind of challenges them, and Duncan's like, "No, I'm good. Like, I got things to do." And they kind of, make fun of him. Duncan seems to be made fun of for his, a little bit of like we said, a little bit of slowness, but also his tallness because he's probably the tallest person there, or they've seen in a while. You know what I mean? So that happens. He goes around, he goes back, finds a camp, and then leaves his horses. I guess takes a shower if you want to say. Not that we need to get too deep into that. He comes back, Dundarian's still busy. Um, the the ladies of the night kind of make fun of him. He calls them out on it. He's like, "Why are you guys making fun of me?" And they're like, "Whatever." And then they give him some advice or whatever about Dundarian or in general. And he goes on. He runs into the cousin. The cousin gets him into a nice little dinner party thrown by Mr.
yeah.
Baratheon.
That's Raymond Fossaway.
The cousin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And who's the Baratheon that's throwing the dinner party?
So that is Lionel Baratheon.
Lionel. There you go.
Yeah. But funny thing is, like in the books, um, that part's not in the books.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I think they added in. And another thing, like some of the things are like out of order compared to the books. So if you read the books, then it's still kind of keeping the same timeline and events, but it's just a little out of order. But
So
yeah,
he gets snuck into the party. He eats because he was hungry, and he says he's always hungry. Tall man's got to get his calories in or whatever. Um, and then during the party, he kind of like tries to go up to Lionel, talk to him. Lionel
well
kind
they
of
they
like,
called him up.
oh yeah, because
Yeah,
he's tall and they never seen him before.
yeah.
Call him up. Lionel kind of banters with him back and forth, like, "What are you doing?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, blah blah blah. And then like he ends up kind of challenging him to like a dance battle or a dance thing. And they do this thing. They get drunk together, and then they have like a talk where they're kind of talking about like what can I do to be a knight, but like Lionel's too drunk to finish the conversation. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, he eventually ends up going to camp, and at camp you see Egg there. Um, and that's kind
Oh,
of so,
so before we jump to that, right? Um, Dunk ends up like walking by the the play, and
true.
he he gets the googly eyes for the actress.
Lady, the young lady, yeah.
Yeah, so she'll pop back up. So
Yes.
keep that. That was episode one.
Yep. I forgot about that because there's a play in episode 2 as well where she comes back up. Not no spoilers to what we're going to talk about soon. He comes up, goes back to camp, and Egg's there. He's got a fire going, and everything. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Well, whatever." They get into a little talk, a little back and forth banter, whatever. Um, and then basically ends with Sir Duncan taking on Egg as his squire. He tells him like, "Yeah, you can stay," and all that. And that's kind of the episode. These are kind of like quick episodes, honestly. Like you said, the books are kind of comic book style. It's not like, I mean, the runtime says like 40 minutes, but it's actually like 30, 35, something like that. The rest of the time is like for like the podcast HBO does or whatever the recap of the episode is.
Like the after show thing.
Yeah, the after
Yeah.
show thing. But that's basically the episode. It's kind of simple, an introduction, like, um, and then anything you want to add there from episode 1 before we jump into 2 that we might have like fast forward to or anything like that.
Well, I think we skipped. Did you mention that he saw Manfred
No, no.
before he went to camp? He ran into Manfred. He saw him at the party,
Yes,
and he was
I forgot
leaving.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he went up to him like, "Hey, like, you remember Sir Penny,
No. Yes.
uh, Sir Arlen Pennytree?" And the Manfred was like, "Yeah, I don't know who you talking about." So beat it,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
he got shut down.
yeah, that's a good transition into episode 2 because right
Mhm.
at the beginning of episode 2, you hear Duncan going over, kind of explaining who Sir Ireland was, or however you say his name, Mr. Pennytree, how he was, and then basically goes into him telling somewhat of a story of how he was into transitioning to the story turns into him going from major house to major house that was at the tournament at like asks like him like please like endorse me, and he just gets turned down after turned down, like, you know what I mean. He even there was a house that we know about that he kind of talked to, was Tyrell's. I think he was talking to Tyrell there, but they didn't like say his like full name.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think he was talking to Tyrell. He was like, I don't remember who the hell that guy was. Like,
yeah.
or so he's going around, he's striking out. um and then we get to see a moment where like he hasn't revealed it yet. I mean, I don't think he ever. I mean, not to get ahead, I don't think he ever reveals it to Duncan. I could be wrong. The 3 hour Rim, we'll save that for later, depending on how
Mhm.
long like the show's gonna run. But you hear some horns. They're in like the area where like the entrance to town, where the battles, where everybody's kind of had their tents. You hear some horns. Sir Duncan's like asked some random guys like, Who's coming? Who's here?" Like whatever. And he's like, look at the sigils, you idiot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it turns
Yeah.
out coming in is Targaryens. And obviously you can, I don't know if you want to go into this because I don't know if it's a spoiler to House of the Dragon, but we see the black sigil with the red dragon like we've seen in Game of Thrones. I don't know if there's I don't know if they're even gonna go that far to in House of the Dragon where it's like a spoiler or not, like whatever. But that's the sigil we've seen in House of the in regular Game of Thrones, the one that ends up like being Daenerys's and like
Well, it's funny that you brought that up,
yeah.
right? The color of the sigil, because not maybe not this season, but in the following seasons, we may see a different color sigil. So keep that in mind for the.
So they come in and you see as they're coming in and they realize it's the Targaryens, Egg starts to act a little funny. And obviously like we like I said, I might have seen it in the trailer and got ahead of myself, but obviously I already know this spoiler. But Egg starts to like a little funny. He tells Duncan, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna ride back to. I could take the horse back to camp." You know what I mean? And like whatever. He kind of asks Duncan for a knife to protect himself. He's like, "You'll be fine." Like whatever. And he tells him like, "Be back when I'm back." So and to Ashford arrives, Baelor Targaryen and his brother is a Mater.
Makar
Maekar.
or
Uh,
Makar.
they
I'm pretty
are
sure
They are
Makar.
Da- they are Darren the Good sons. Darren the Good. He's king right now, right? Darren the Good at this moment.
Yeah, yeah. So Darren is king. Baylor is
Back to line.
prince. Yeah, yeah. And Makar is the youngest of that of the kids. So it's a few people ahead of him,
Yeah. Was
for the
Makar the
throne.
Makar the one that was talking to Duncan and the horse that I was gonna get to? That he's like, take my horse. Who's that? Which Targaryen is that?
So I'm pretty sure that might be what's it called? That might be Egg's one of Egg's
Sibling?
cousins.
Oh, cousins. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it might be Aerys Targaryen,
Okay.
Baelor's younger brother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I
he
think, but they didn't reveal it. So
Yeah.
you know,
He arrives. They don't say any names. He comes with his horse. He sees Duncan. He's like, "Take my horse," like whatever. He's like, "Sir, I'm not a stable boy." And then he's like, "Well, at least fetch me some wine, whatever." And he's like, "I'm not a drink person either." And he was like, he tells him, he's like, "I'm a knight," like, and he looks at him up and down, and he's like, "Well, the knighthood's gone down, basically gone to shit." It looks like it's basically what he
yeah.
says to him, and then just walks inside. Duncan still takes his horse, takes it into the stables, kind of petting the horse, and as he's petting the horse, like somebody comes in and there's two King's Guards, uh, knights, knights of the King's Guard. I like the outfits, the all white
Yeah, the
armor,
white, yeah.
going hard.
Mhm.
But they have a quick conversation with Sir Duncan the Tall. One of them just wants to know where the bathroom's at, and they kind of make a joke about how tall he is. How does his horse ride him, or does he ride the horse like because of how tall he is?
Yeah.
And then he has a conversation with the other one. I forget his name. I didn't write it down, but he kind of gives like Egg like confidence because Egg's like, yeah, I'm a son of a crabber. You know what I mean? And then he's like, Duncan's like, how did you make it up to here? He's like, the same way we became crabbers. So he's kind of like giving Duncan some confidence the way he read the situation to go ahead and get what he wants, which is the knighthood to be in this tournament. So stop me if I'm skipping over some things that you might want to add in. Um, but he basically thinks about it and then goes in, finds an entry into the castle. He's trying to find his way. He's kind of looks like he's spying to see what conversations they're having in this room with the where the Targaryens are at and the head of Ashford. I forget what sir he is, but as he's sitting there, he gets interrupted by the princess of Ashford, the little girl, and she basically goes up to him and tells him like the two of the kings, not the kings, but two of Mater's sons are missing, right?
Well, he's technically a prince.
Yeah,
So yeah, the prince
yeah.
is son.
two of the prince's sons are missing. They could be dead. And she kind of sits there after she says it, what she says, and like Duncan has like a late reaction to what she's saying, but I think she's kind of giving him a clue, like, hey, if you want favor with these people, try to see if you can find. That's what I got from it. It's like she was kind of giving him a clue, like,
Yeah, because she called him stupid afterwards,
yeah, because
and
he
like,
took a
yeah,
while to react. She called him. He's like, "You're stupid. Like you're tall and stupid," or some like that. I believe that's what she said. She definitely called him stupid, but I think I don't know if she had the tall thing, and then she like walked away. Like, but like it felt like she was giving him a hint, like, "Hey, if you want favor with these people, this is what's going on. Like these two kids are missing. Obviously, foreshadowing. The two kids that are missing are Egg and his other brother. Obviously, Egg was one of three. Is that correct?
well, Makar has 6 children.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Egg was the youngest, right?
the second youngest.
Second youngest. Okay.
He was the youngest boy.
At the time, right? Or
Yeah,
the other one had been born yet, or I
the
don't know.
what?
Yeah, the his I guess younger sister hadn't been born yet. I would guess, or maybe she had. She was just younger,
Possibly.
possibly. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
she's not
yeah,
in the picture. It doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah.
But
Damn, Jonah.
two of the kids that are missing, we're pretty sure are Egg and one of his other brothers. Um, we're not sure who it is because they haven't mentioned even their names, but that's what we're putting together as we see Egg just traveling along by himself, looking like a normal person, like a normal kid who's like from Flea Bottom,
Yeah.
wearing that type of gear and things like that. Um, Finally, he kind of spots somebody in the corner, and he like calls them out to come out, and basically, um, ba- Baylor kind of entertains it. Well, he does. He does entertain it. He's like, "Look, I was looking for favor to try to get in a tournament," and he kind of decides to hear Duncan out. Um, Duncan basically goes into his spiel about Sir Pennytree. Baylor tests him, and this is how he ends up getting his endorsement. So Baylor ends up testing him about something about Pennytree, which was about like who was like the person.
So, he yeah, once he started talking about Pennytree, uh, Baylor remembered him and was like, yeah, we jousted against each other. Like he was at this tournament, he was at that tournament. Uh, so he brought up a certain name, right? I think what did he say? The Golden Lion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's talking about a Lannister, I guess maybe that he beat or he didn't beat or something like that. I mean, Pennytree didn't win a lot. That's also something Baylor says, but he said he always did it with honor, I guess, or like never, you know what I mean, something of those terms, you know what I'm saying? Um, but he says the person's name, and right there, Baylor decides to give him the okay. As he's leaving, Baylor says, "Look, you're not one of Pennytree's sons, so you can't have his sigil. You got to have your own armor and sigil that's not his because you're not
Yeah.
a descendant of his or anything like that." So he leaves here. We see him and Egg at another play that's going on about a night, actually, which is funny. They see the play afterwards. They go and talk to the actress. You know, he's they're talking about the play. Egg's really interested in the dolls, how they're made, like whatever, and all that. So, basically, he asked the girl to paint a new sigil, like his own sigil, on his thing. He's trying to give her like ideas because he wants to just add to what it has already. And then Egg kind of chimes in and he's like, "How about a tree, like a tall tree, one of the tall trees in Westeros?" And then she throws in an idea, I think, and then basically it's a little awkward because Duncan a little awkward with the ladies, obviously.
So her name is Tansel.
Okay, so
They put it in there. They mention it in there.
okay. So then they're leaving. After that, he almost leaves with the shield, and then she's like, "I need the shield to paint it." He's walking with Egg. He's asking Egg like, "How did that go?" Like the interaction with the girl, because obviously, whatever they kind of yeah, they kind of go over that. Um, After that, he kind of stumbles across Lionel, and Lionel's drunk. He's like, "I need you for this tug of war." They end up doing this tug of war.
Yeah.
Even even Egg gets in, and their team ends up winning even after Lionel leaves for a second, goes to get a drink, and then comes back, and then they pull through thanks to Duncan and his
Yeah.
tall self. Um, that was a little like fun thing. Like I said, it's very lighthearted so far. It's not like a very serious thing. Um, and like you said, the way it's written in the books is just kind of like comic book strip style, like pages and things like that. Next, he kind of as he's walking around this little area where everybody hangs out, um, he stumbles across an armor person. Can't think of the name right. Sellsword? No, not Sellsword.
The
Yeah,
blacksmith.
blacksmith. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
right. And basically, he's like, "How much for this? How much for that?" He says like 8,000. He's like, "I don't have that." And
Eight
then
hundred.
800, yeah, 800, whatever. And he's like, "I don't have that." He's like, "Can I trade you somebody else's armor for whatever?" And then like he ends up accepting it, and then like the trade, even though he didn't want to, but he did, and then I think he took 200 from him too, like that and 200.
Well, he took 2 coins. I don't know how much they were worth,
Yeah, I think it's
but he
yeah.
gave him like 2 coins.
Yeah. So then right after we get to a scene where he sells Mr. Pennytree's horse, the white
Mhm.
horse, basically tells him, hey, he's talking to the horse. He's like, when I win, I'm gonna buy you back. Like, you know, and then gives up the horse to get some money because obviously part of the thing that the master of the games told him, which I skipped over in the first episode, is that when you lose everything. You got to have money and stuff to give up. You know what I mean? Your armor, everything, you kind of lose it. It's kind of like, racing for papers out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that happens, and then this the horn sound, and there's a night tournament that's going on, and we see Alana Targaryen, right, go up in there. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we get Valor Targaryen, I
okay,
believe is his name.
yeah,
Um yeah, he's um he's Baelor's son.
okay. So
Yeah.
Baylor's son, and then they have the little interaction. Obviously, Eggs on top of Duncan for a little bit, and then like as it starts getting going, he tells him like put him down. I think he's because he's afraid he might be seen, is what I'm thinking, because he's so taller than everybody else. It's easy to see when he realizes that like his basically dad and uncle are like in the little main chair where all the important
Yeah.
people are at. And then they watch the tournament. Shit happens. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It kind of ends there. You know what I mean? After them seeing it, it's kind of, you know, Duncan taking it in. This is about what he's about to do the next day, probably.
Mhm.
Maybe the next episode we'll see, but like it's kind of like sinking in. Like he really wants to do this. He really wants to be a knight. Like that's just like seems like his one main goal so far in the series, and he just wants people to take him seriously. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's
So
basically
it's almost like he had a panic attack.
yeah,
I felt like he was like, all right, well, this shit's about to get real,
yeah.
tomorrow. So
It's true. So I mean, that was basically the gist of the two episodes. Like I said, they're like 30-minute episodes. It's like very lighthearted right now. It's not nothing serious. It's just, this guy who wants to be a knight, a common person who wants to be a knight, and he's eager to prove it. And he's just a little bit of an oaf, even though it's not just because he's tall, but like he's a little bit of
mhm.
an oaf. Honestly, he is from Flea Bottom. That's where he's originally from. Spoiler. So he's just always been a poor kid. The Sir Pennytree took him along when he, like you said, he's been most of his life there, and that's where he's been. Yeah. Anything you want to add so far through two episodes that you want to foreshadow the people with, or want to tell them something to look for?
Yeah.
Potentially.
So since it's a short story, I imagine they're probably gonna like add stuff. Like I mentioned before, like it's a little out of order compared to the books,
Yep.
but and they added the Lionel Baratheon part,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they're gonna add some stuff. It's not too. It's not gonna be any like huge battle or anything this
Yeah.
season. Sorry to spoil for people, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be good. Uh, like I said, nothing crazy. The ending's probably gonna be like a shock. Uh, But yeah, I mean, it's starting off kind of slow. For the people that want, the Battle of the Bastards in the first episode. Sorry,
Yeah.
but
I mean, let's be honest. I'm glad the story's out. We're glad it gives us, things to talk about. Us, people who love the Game of Thrones universe and everything. It's just things to talk about. Honestly, I don't care if it is. It looks like HBO decided to make some filler because they're just trying to make some money off of
mm,
the Game of Thrones universe. And I mean, I'm okay with it. There's been rumors about so many series, and I'm glad that there's another one. This is a good like filler too before House of Dragon comes out, possibly the summer or at the end of the summer, whatever it is. But I mean that was the first two episodes. I mean, how many episodes is it supposed to be? I think it's supposed to be a short one too. It's like 6 or 8.
yeah, it's 6 or 8. I'm not sure the exact
Yeah.
number, but I think they're like 40-minute episodes, 6, 8 episodes
Okay.
for the season.
All right.
Like I
Well,
said, the books aren't really that long, so you know they'll probably try to put some stuff in there just to kind of fluff it.
yeah. Well, I mean, we look forward to next week. I will be here. We'll talk about it. And we're always your source for breaking down these episodes on 3R Raven, putting out the Easter eggs, the little hints, things you might have been wondering about. And we hope to see you back. So we'll catch you next time. And
My watch is ended.
just for this week.